Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Talented Learning Executive Briefing Series. I'm John Lay. I'm the CEO and lead analyst at Talented Learning, and this is my favorite series of content because we get to travel the world virtually and meet with the world's most exciting and innovative learning systems and learning management system solutions in the marketplace. And unlike other demonstrations or other sites where you can find demonstrations in the industry, we combine both the business side and the actual demonstration side so that you can get a good feel for each organization and what they specialize in so that you can find the best LMS and the best learning system for your particular situation. And today is no different. We have the folks from CD2 Learning with us today that are going to take us through their exciting company, the changes they had in the last year, and give us a nice demonstration of some differentiators. So with that being said, Mike, Scott, it's all yours. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you, John. I appreciate that. So I'm Mike Whitman. I'm the Vice President of Sales for CD2 Learning. Thought I'd start off by giving a little bit of a history of our company and where we come from, how long we've been around, and then get into some of the things that do set us apart in the marketplace, who we are, who we want to be, what we want to do. So CD2 Learning has actually been around since 2009, so a little over a decade there. And we've grown, of course, quite a bit during that time. And really where we see ourselves is, as I look out at the marketplace, there's kind of two bookends, where on the one end there's kind of the do-it-yourself model that is, you get the keys to the platform, and then they wish you luck, and hopefully you do okay with it and figure it all out. The other end of the spectrum then is the companies out there that might, put every feature they could possibly think of into the platform and tell you, yes, we do that to any question you might ever ask. But where we've really tried to slot ourselves into the marketplace is in that middle of the market there, where we have a solution that I like to say we've said yes to the right things and no to the things that don't really fit for us. So where that comes in is we never want our clients to be software without service. We have a team of dedicated people to make sure that as we onboard new partners, they get the help, the training, the guidance they need to make sure that as we're setting up learning and training and development curriculum, that it makes sense, that it makes sense to the learners that are out there, that it makes sense to the managers and the executives that might be involved along the way, and then of course to the administrators out there that are going to be doing the bulk of the work to manage the system, making sure that people get to the right courses and the right sort of things. So that onboarding experience is really important to us to make sure that we get things set up to accomplish the goals and priorities of our clients out there. A few things that we're big on, number one would be onboarding flows. So for companies that are doing onboarding, we're really good at that. We've got logic built in that can make it so that onboarding experience for new employees is as seamless and as easy as possible, so that when somebody new joins the organization, they know what to do on day one, day two, day three, and so on. And then from the HR side, that the people that are managing that don't have to give the same presentation over and over and over again. They don't have to say the same thing a million times in a row. And so we do really well with people in the manufacturing industry, also people that are in the retail, hospitality, that maybe they've got different locations all across the country where they want to have a seamless and uniform experience for people as they join the team and as they move forward. Another thing that sets us apart in the space is our certifications program, or maybe learning paths is a term that people like to use, that we're really great with those logic flows that get set up so that that as the learner progresses down that learning path, they can do step one, then step two, then step three. Those can also be set to expire after a certain amount of time. So if there's ongoing, whether it's continuing education or maybe certifications that are required for a specific industry, we can have that set up so that the learner gets an update letting them know that it's about to expire, as well as their manager and their supervisor and that sort of thing, that people really stay in the loop as far as that goes. And then finally, a big differentiator with us is our content creation and implementation team, that people come to us, and don't get me wrong, our tool is built so that if an administrator wants to create their own content, they certainly can. They can upload documents, they can link out to external content, they can upload SCORM files and set those up, they can build assessments and different things right within the platform. And along with that, if you do have a more custom content type, so that might be a simulation of some kind. I think of in the manufacturing space, if you've got a machine out there that costs tens of thousands of dollars a day to run that machine. It's big, it's heavy, it might even be dangerous if you don't know how to use it. We can actually use our content creation team to set up that content for our clients so that they can have that experience. And we do that. We do a lot of gamification of content to make it so it's a little bit more interesting for that learner. The reality is there's a lot of content out there today that if it really is just text on a page and some voiceover, that may not be that engaging for that end user. And so we really want to make sure that that end user, that learner, has an engaging experience with that content, so they actually do learn what they're meant to learn, and they might even enjoy it along the way. So I think we have somewhere a little north of 80 employees at this point. We've grown quite a bit, like I said. We also earlier this year, I guess last year in 2021, were acquired by a company called Nelnet. And that has been a really important development for us, that they have brought resources to the table so we can continue expanding our development team and our capabilities. So you really do get the best of both worlds with us, both of that, that team that's there for you, but then also that big company feel that we have the resources behind us, that we can continue to advance the platform, add new functionality, even custom functionality as our clients need it, to make sure that they have the experience that they need to in a platform that does everything that they need it to. So that's a quick, I guess, introduction to who we are, how we fit, who we want to be, where we want to go in the market. And then Scott, would you want to take over then and really show off the platform?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much. And I am Scott Foster. So I serve as VP of Customer Operations and Success for CD2 Learning. And really my role is to ensure the success and growth of all clients using our platform. A couple things before I jump into the site. I'm really excited to just showcase some things that we think make us unique and that a lot of our clients are just really attracted to. Is just talking about our demographics. I think we fit into a couple of key pockets. Organizations looking to deliver internal employee training. Like Mike said, we focus a lot on some onboarding workflows that are really interesting. In organization sizes, we have a huge range, but we typically have sweet spots between 500 to 5,000 employees, roughly around that range. And we have very, very flexible tools on just how that is organized. And that comes down to managers, districts, and who needs different levels of reporting access, administrative access, and making sure that the people in the organization can get real-time reports exactly in the areas that they need. And another unique market that we really specialize in is professional associations looking to perhaps deliver continuing education, so CEUs. We have built right within our platform e-commerce capability and solutions. So we have a lot of organizations that are looking to us to help deliver products and solutions for their associations, continuing education credits, delivering products and delivering a market through an e-commerce checkout solution. And a few other things that I just point out as far as just recapping what Mike said, as far as things that we think make us unique, it's partnership. We really go into every opportunity with our clients as looking at as collaborative partners. So that comes from not only the onboarding experience, but the lifetime of your history with us at CD2 Learning. So we are fully approaching everything of making sure that our clients are successful if we're successful, and vice versa, and giving input and ideas and suggestions all along the way. And we really also pride ourselves on just being experts in the field. We've been doing this for a really long time. We have an in-house content development team. We've been in the learning industry for quite a while. So during that consultation is also just bringing advice, and it's not just a turnkey solution, but hey, let us act as consultants for your business. What is your vision? And every organization is really unique in the things that they're trying to look to solve. So we really approach every client with unique solutions and unique ideas on what makes sense for their implementation strategy. So with that, John, I think I want to jump in and just highlight a few things on the site, show a couple examples of what we mean from onboarding experiences, gamified learning, administrative tools, and maybe a little bit of e-commerce checkout.
Cool, perfect.
So I will go ahead and share my screen. All right, perfect. So here I'm in an example of a site, and I'm signed in as basically an administrator that has kind of access to everything turned on. But during our implementation process, we are always looking to really understand an organization's structure. Again, like how is this split up? Who needs access to what? What are the tools that you're specifically using? So it's not just turning on our platform and site, but we are fully configuring it, mapping it to your HR needs, your employee needs, making sure that it's really easy for the learner experience and that the managers, executives, et cetera, have access to what they need as well. So that comes with full branding, white labeling, obviously with the site, going through a process of determining what tools we want to implement and who needs that different visibility. We have several dashboard views, again, depending on your access, starting with your personal learner's access. So if I am both, say, for example, a manager in a platform, I have people that are reporting to me, but I'm also taking training. We see that use case all the time. We're not using multiple logins to accomplish that. I can launch my manager training and I can flip over to my employees and see what they're doing, or flip over to an administrator view to check some different reporting metrics on where people are at in the organization. I'm going to quickly toggle back on my personal learning view and spotlight a few of these widgets that we have on the dashboard, and then jump into some training elements. We have a lot of options for things that we can turn on and make available, but for learners, it comes down to taking easy access into your courses and training. So where did I leave off? Fully recognizing that people aren't going to oftentimes complete all their training in one sitting. So our course navigation and design tools are intended to be exactly that, of giving you access to click a button, jump right back where you left off in a certain training. And from there, options for company announcements, notifications. We have collaboration opportunities within different groups that you might be connected with, that a lot of organizations are really excited about, to get collaboration between groups or perhaps different cohorts of training, to have discussions right within the platform. So those are really helpful, of just getting your people talking with one another. What did you take away from that training? What are some things that you could do next? And sharing ideas. So we have a lot of workflows and tools built around those concepts. A couple other quick things that I'll just spotlight is taking training and expanding beyond that of a global content library of what are the tools and resources that my field really needs access to. So we have a full content management system that I would say just about all of our companies that we work with utilize in some form or fashion. And this is thinking of that non-linear training, access to different materials, workbooks. Maybe it's a video going back to manufacturing examples on how to operate certain parts of the machine, or an instruction guide on how to repair a certain machine. We have a lot of different ways to categorize a library of fields of content, so that way you can get directly in to those resources, whether it's from the web browser itself, through a mobile app, but always having access to that content. So that way, if I want to continue down my learning journey, that I can just search the library, pull up some quick resources, and have that as a additional job base to continue that process. So I'm going to demonstrate just a couple quick things of gamified learning, jump into some onboarding workflows and what we mean by that, and then finally touch on a few quick administrative tools. As Mike alluded to not too long ago, we really focus on a lot of different unique ways of delivering content and training, with expanding beyond just text on the page, static, and making interactive games, and even going up to examples of simulations. How do I simulate a specific experience? So I am going to do a quick showcase of an example of this going through a point of sale simulation. So this was created directly with CD2 Learning tools to allow a new hire associate to go through a workflow and go through customer examples of somebody's coming in to place an order, and I need to go through the sequence of taking their order and putting it in the correct workflow. So as they are going through this and they're telling me the order, I am able to go through and see if I'm able to get that, and tracking, how many times did it take me to get to the end? What is my average order time? All these things that help me feel better prepared from the first time that I'm going into that. So as a quick example, this is one of those things that we mean, but we have a lot of other clients that are doing things from instrument training. We have a longstanding client that does navigation training with some of their specific instruments in simulations. And we've also taken a lot of time to build gamified templates, so that way we can take scenario exercises and turn those into interactive and fun games with having really cool and interesting templates that we can come back to. So again, as another quick example, this activity is based around having a conversation with my manager, and it's ultimately what it boils down to is maybe a simple scenario example that you would see in a lot of e-learning content. You're asked a question, how would you best respond to this? But in this scenario, it's just trying to make this fun. Like, can we do something and envision this in the format of a card game? So I'm going through instead of 4 questions, 4 hands, and each time I'm dealt a card and seeing if I can select the best card as I'm having this conversation. Tons of different examples like that, but those are things that we're able to be creative about with some of our clients and partners of, how can we take some of those concepts and really make it fun and really make it interesting, and expand on that.
Point of clarification, when you say templates, are these templates that customers can use without you, or these are templates in your toolkit as part of your custom development, or both?
Oh, so we have both. We really specialize in the custom content. So we have templated things like Jeopardy style games, and other things that clients can import questions into. But where we see a lot of traction is clients looking for something completely custom. Like, I have this idea, let's partner with our in-house content team, and we're leveraging some of the templates and ideas that we've done and just creating something custom from it.
I see. Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, so in navigation, I talked about early on that we really recognize the fact that whatever a training package might be, that somebody might only have a fixed amount of time to go through certain pieces. Or we often see quite often that maybe a training course has more staying power than just checking the box, did I do it? But it's a resource of knowledge. I want to come back here and reference this. So our navigation tools are built specifically to support and cater to this of breaking things down into modular learning activities, being able to come back to those on a regular basis for resource, whether it's, again, manufacturing knowledge, sales experience, how am I selling a certain product? A lot of our clients are really thinking about their content in ways of not just one-time use, but a lifetime resource for a specific person. All right, so I'm going to take those concepts and quickly talk through some things that we are doing with onboarding that start in similar models of if we think of somebody onboarding at a new company, there's a series of things that they're likely having to do, from doing certain training activities, from connecting with HR, meeting with their managers. And sometimes these things are well documented, sometimes they're really across the board. I think some common things that we always hear is when you're actually polling your new hires and how did they feel? People are feeling, oh, I felt a little bit lost. I wasn't sure what was expected of me. I wasn't sure what was next. Or maybe it's the manager, and the manager has somebody reporting to them. They're in the midst of things. They have like their day-to-day responsibilities, and they're trying to onboard somebody, but they're not quite sure if they've connected with the right people of HR, and a lot of scenarios of that. So those are like primary foundational points that we're looking at to help build onboarding experiences for organizations to give what we call collaborative workflows between a new hire and perhaps their manager, a new hire and somebody from HR, to help build clarity of where somebody is at in a process, to share tasks of maybe we're documenting an entire process for the first week, somebody going through onboarding, and there are certain sequence of things that have to happen of from the employee filling out things, completing certain training packages, but there's things for HR to document. There's things for my manager to fill out a review form and catering to those processes. So in this example that we're looking at, picture from a life cycle of my first week in an organization. I might go through things of, having a welcome to my organization. That's really common. Perhaps to some form or documentations I'm filling out. So in this scenario, I'm asked to fill out, hey, get your t-shirt from this organization. I'm downloading my handbook. I'm setting up my email. And expanding beyond that, we have built-in workflow capabilities of doing assignments. So this is a really unique tool of things that we've been focusing on over the last year, and then building in some processes with that, of asking somebody to submit or record or document parts of their process. So we have a sales organization that we're working with, where part of their onboarding experience, they are learning their product, they're learning their tools, and they are then getting into the sales process. And before they're out in the field connecting with clients, they want to demonstrate practice of that. So instead of always doing this face-to-face, which isn't always possible, and especially post-COVID client, obviously, that we are building tools to support this online. So picture a scenario where somebody's asked to record a role play demonstration. We have tools built in place to where you could just upload a video of yourself doing something. We actually even have an integration with a video creation tool to where you can record that right in the platform and click record, and that's displayed right there. But as soon as I submit that, it's not just, okay, I did the work and I completed the assignment. It's now a collaborative workflow where my manager is reviewing that content. It's like, oh, I see that you did this, Scott. Here are some notes. Here's some feedback. Why don't you go ahead and try re-uploading that again? And within a workflow environment that we're doing back and forth information between, again, a new hire employee and somebody they report to. So those are some examples. Some other things that we really key in on with onboarding is just a communication funnel of, as somebody is starting their first 2 days. Like, so for example, each day might kick out an email to the associates plus their manager. So me as the associate, it's like, here's what to expect on day 2. We're going to be focusing on these topics. And then to my manager, it's just a reminder, hey, Mike, Scott is starting day 2. He's going to be getting into workday. He's covering health insurance. He's probably going to have a lot of questions on benefits, and be prepared to answer these. Here's some resources for you. So in every step, we're kind of figuring out the people that probably want to be notified and have information. So it's more proactive than reactive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great.
All right. So a couple other just key things that I wanted to mention in reference. Talked about professional associations and thinking through e-commerce checkout and capabilities. So we have a lot of organizations that are, they have clients or they have organizations that they're connecting with, but they're building a funnel, a pipeline into products or services that they're selling to a market. So for example, we are working with an organization that's doing wine education and selling these to restaurants. And from here, they are building a revenue stream of, here's different modules that are available that are going to help you kind of in your store of having better knowledge of what some of these processes are. So they're creating the content in our platform, but then delivering it through an e-commerce checkout. So this is different from our internal employee process, to where we have an external market that we're marketing to and building a revenue stream from this online content that we're creating.
Mm-hmm. Great.
So from there, I want to jump into just a few things from administrative side of things. But John, I guess I'd pause here from the things I've gone through so far. Any additional questions, comments, things that you're looking for some clarity on?
No, looking good. Nice demonstration. Functionality is straightforward. The use case is well articulated, as well as the different steps that are surround training in something like that. So all that looks really good from an onboarding use case standpoint. I do have a question though. What about onboarding of customers? Are people using your platform for that? It seems like that would be an easy crossover.
No, that's a great question. So with onboarding customers, we do have workflows where we are tracking kind of like the steps of what we're doing. So we have a new client beginning from execution of the contracts. What are the things that we're doing? And we do use workflows to document that. So do we have your branding information? Are you doing a custom URL? So what are the sequence that we're doing that we're sharing with clients? And making that very streamlined so you have access to the tools that we're looking at. Mm-hmm. So we do that absolutely with kind of like that first 4 to 6 week period of getting your site set up, organizing training, collecting branding information, and then ultimately setting up project plans. Now, where we haven't expanded beyond that yet, but we're looking to do some additional modifications on is kind of what comes next. Like a lot of our clients have just unique and quite different project plans. So that's kind of where we come in. You have a dedicated CD2 representative for the lifetime of your contract. It's the project manager from start to finish. But we really focus on onboarding. What are you looking to achieve until you kick off? And we have organizations. A lot of people are coming to us from a different platform, and that objective is we want to convert our training, get our users over, migrate data. And here's some API connections we have to establish. That's a pretty common thing. But we also have a reverse thing of somebody is new to a training industry. They don't have a current technology solution. So part of what we're helping them identify is, okay, what is your training elements? How do those get created? Are you interacting with our content team? Are you creating it? And sometimes those have much longer life cycles. But for the first, the first 4 to 6 weeks, where those are a pretty concrete process of getting you on board, getting a site set up and branded, configured, and then organizing training, all of those things. We do that workflow example with clients on our site.
All right, great, thank you.
Absolutely, great question. Let me jump into, before I jump into some management tools, Mike talked quite a bit about certifications. So certifications itself has a lot of, clients are using this for a lot of different ways in our site. The most straightforward and simple example is I just have a certificate of completion for a course. So I want somebody to be able to download a PDF. So if I completed a set of training that I can see what those requirements are, I can download my certificate. So we have an administrative side of building those certificate templates, whatever you want that to say, your branding, you're putting your head of HR signature and all those things on it. You're tracking employee license numbers. So there's a lot of flexibility in that. So think of one-to-one training to a certificate of completion. And then also a quick point of clarity of training can be just straight e-learning, but it can also be a live or virtual event that you're tracking. Somebody's marking attendance and somebody attend this event, I get a certification for it. And then we also do blended. So attend this event and then jump into the site to complete an assessment or some follow-up information. So we have blended style things for that as well. Expanding beyond the one-to-one, we also have like certification tracks and pathing of I am a new hire associate, maybe I'm in a certain field and I have a series of things that are assigned to me. So I'm just jumping through a couple examples here to look at, but if we imagine mapping within a certain district, I have all my sales reps, they are starting at this certification path, and it has courses A, B, and C that they are completing. And when they're done with that, they're recognized as kind of meeting that minimum requirements to be sales rep level 1. And then that can automatically put them into a path 2 of, like, if I'm looking to follow my career pathing of, you know, what could come next, here's some next steps in training that could set you up for that part of the process. So we can track certification pathing together of not just a one-to-one course requirement, but a package. What are the collection of things that I'm doing to ultimately achieve certification?
Right. Cool.
And the last thing that I'd mention on that, it just goes back to the credits. So with organizations and associations specifically looking to track credit hours for different things, our engine is built to absolutely support that. The common scenarios are to complete a set of required trainings, it's worth X amount of credits, and this is good for 1 year. And then when that expires, reinitiate a process to reattain the credits I need for my job. Right. Which can then build recurring revenue if you're selling that through an e-commerce solution. So again, if you have those associations looking for accreditation, a lot of our clients are doing recurring revenue of every year you're going to have to buy this same training product to get recertified.
Sure. Cool.
Cool. So a couple other quick things from management sides. So I'm going to just not go too in depth, but explain some of our course building tools. I mean, we think, you know, one of our differentiators is we have, I mean, we don't pretend to be everything to everybody, but we have an integrated solution of not requiring to go to a lot of outside vendors for different things. So with assembling and building course packages, even if those are all existing, you know, Articulate or Rise courses that you're importing as Form, we have tools to build packages from it. Maybe use some of our native tools to add on to that training. You know, going back with e-commerce solutions and certifications that we've really tried to take the things that we focus on, making sure that we have our own in-house solutions for that. So I'm going to showcase just from a really high level course building and assembly, what some of those tools and options look like. So when I was demonstrating the course navigation experience, we had down the left menu, it showed what we call steps. This is essentially the outline of my training or my learning activities. And this is the builder view where we set these up. So I start here and I can click into any of these steps. So in the onboarding experience, we set those up as daily steps. I'm doing certain activities each day within my onboarding experience. And adding a new step is just super simple of clicking add, just go ahead and add day 7. And then that adds it to my outline. This is all set up as a drag and drop WYSIWYG interface, so I can easily move things around. But as I'm building the outline, then what comes next is options for adding learning activities. So we have a wide range of these. I'm not going to spend the time going through all these, but I'll describe a few of these in buckets of, you know, I want to upload my existing SCORM content. I want to use maybe the CD2 tools to build native assessments. We have form and survey builder tools right within here. So if I wanted to create a follow-up survey, or when we're looking at the onboarding example of the ordering your t-shirt that was created with a form builder of defining what those drop-down fields are, what things I'm asking them to submit. So a lot of flexibility within that. I demonstrated workflow options of like submitting something that then becomes an assignment for my manager to look at. That's done with this upload approval activity. And with any one of these, I'm filling out some details, I can define some requirements, and since this is set up as a workflow, I can define who is responsible for this. Is this my learner? Does this go to my supervisor? My supervisor is doing this. Perhaps some other things when this is complete, there's options to send an email. So then I'm going to pull from our emailing system of, hey, when this is complete, I need to notify this person. Or perhaps it's other things like when I complete day 6, I want to award somebody a badge. So I want to pull in some gamification elements, not just the content, but how am I awarding somebody as they're progressing through this? I want to upload a badge on these. So there's endless flexibility in this setup, but ultimately what we're setting up our administrators with is the ability to organize and assemble their content, make it really flexible on the arrangement to it, and then also give versioning capabilities within this. So in this example that I'm looking at, I've already published this course. I've delivered this out to, a group of people. So that's why I have this draft and published version. So I've already published it out, and what it looks like when it's published out is it's a 5-day onboarding activity. But now I'm working through a draft version of the same course, and then when I'm ready, I'm going to assign some test users, and then ultimately, as I make my updates, I'm comfortable with the changes, I'm going to republish those, and then determine do I want to recalculate course progress, what happens to the people already in it. There's a lot of flexibility on that, but I have opportunities to make those iterative changes. Oftentimes it's year over year, I might change updates to content and training. So I'm going to create a new version. I will go through test processes, et cetera, and then republish those out to the field.
Mm-hmm. And if I have one of those published components, can I manage that centrally and maybe use it in 10 different other workflows of learning and update it once and have it cascade down?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that is one of the, glad that you brought that up, John, that is one of the key benefits and things that we look at in workflow and course development is how to reuse assets or how to reuse courses. So a couple specific examples, go down to the content level. So from the content, we can break apart elements of this isn't just a single course file that we're uploading into the LMS, but we started with a welcome video, and that welcome video is a content asset that you can find in your resource library. So if I am a manager of content, I can find that element, see where that video is used. If I'm adding, I'll just go ahead and edit this. If I am adding and building this out into my training, I have options. Do I want to upload? Do I want to embed? Or ultimately, do I want to pull from my library of stuff? And then I can search my library and grab that same content. But that is a single digital asset that can be used in multiple locations. And then when it changes, so history or welcoming somebody to our company oftentimes comes from somebody at HR, and those roles might change periodically. So when that ultimately does happen, you're not necessarily required to do that in every course. You can just find that single content item and update it, and that would cascade across. And then a couple examples without going too in depth of like the course itself. There might be several instances of different cohorts or classes that we can publish that out to. And then also some interesting things that some clients are using is building large workflows that are built up from other courses themselves. So instead of just modules or things, I've already built an entire other workflow I want to launch somebody into. So I can grab this course link and find that course and then link another course to this process. And then assign somebody in day 3, complete this course, and that will launch them into that course. But now they have a guided workflow path of, we think of onboarding, it's kind of like I'm ordering a pizza. Like the goal is when I'm ordering a pizza and it's being delivered, I want to check to see where am I at in the process. and getting it down to as simple as a new hire associate, making them feel comfortable of where am I at on my pizza tracker, where am I at in the process of knowing exactly what's next, and my manager vice versa. It's like, all right, I'm on day 3 and I have to jump into these other subset of things. How can we organize that into a simple fashion? Is ultimately like what we're looking to strive and achieve.
Yeah, John, I would jump in there too and say another good example that answers actually, both the questions you've asked here over the last few moments is that we have a client that they manufacture and sell very high-end sewing machines, and so they've got independent stores that carry their machines and sell those. So an example might be having become a certified reseller. You could have a certification program that they would have to go through, and then as part of that, you might have maybe a product catalog that lists all of the different types of machines that they sell. And so if they launch a new product catalog in 2022 that has different machines, different products than the one before, you could update that catalog, change that in one place, and then that would actually cascade out to all of the different places that product catalog was in use. So a very streamlined way to do that to make sure that as the content changes, administrators can keep that up to date with just a couple of clicks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great example.
Excellent. I think just some other key pieces that I want to talk about is just administrative questions. When we're talking with new clients and new prospects, it's always one of the key things is like how easy is it to administrate the system, from reports, from managing users, enrollment, and we really take heart to that of trying to make sure that we're very flexible in that process, because ultimately we work with organizations with a lot of different use cases, and that we build in easy tools to do it directly from the system, and then also automated tools to help do that work for you. So I'll describe a few of these processes, and it comes down to actually just starting with group setup and structure. So we have a grouping page where it's looking at how do we want to put people into the site? What are some of these mini silos? So as an example, if we imagine a corporation that's signing on and they're launching their LMS, there might be a corporate headquarters where my HR people, my directors of training, like they are up there looking at training and access for everybody across the site. But I likely have some territories or districts this is broken out into. And I have district managers and territory managers that are managing in a manufacturing example, or other retail examples, like they might be managing stores within their district. So within that, I can set up within a grouping. What we're looking at here is just cascading down access. So within our grouping structure, it's one of the key things that our team is partnering with any organization that we're onboarding and identifying and mapping out, like, how do we want this broken out? Like, what are the branches? What is the org structure? And our grouping model really supports that and makes that easy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're able to obviously assign roles based on access. So everything cascades up. So as we're assigning what we call parent groups, everything rolls up. So even if a specific retail store has a group of 5 people and they kind of have their own little world of a manager looking at their sales associates in their store, that's going to roll up to the territory level, which ultimately rolls up to the corporate level, and it can be managed at any location.
Mm-hmm.
Users, like looking at what we're tagging and tracking people with, different attributes. Oftentimes this plays a pretty important role in how that might be managed. So recognizing departments that they might be in, oftentimes like what is their role in the site. So if I know somebody is a manager or they are a director, there could be a training program or a certification track that's automatically mapped to that. So when they're set there, that their training plan, or at least their initial training program, can be mapped to them. So we have a lot of clients that are doing that type of setup and model of users are coming into the platform. We're putting them into certain departments, certain job roles, and then there is a training package built specifically for them. That process automatically happens. And then with different associates that we can go in and look at, who does somebody report to? So, we have an associate training that's assigned to them, but ultimately, like, what are their attributes? Like, they're reporting to Mike, so Mike has visibility into their content and their tools. What is their job function? What department are they belonging to? So those are all pretty key things that a lot of our corporate organizations are using to just map their user base and help divide out pockets of who's going to do X amount of training.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it goes without saying that we are very flexible with integrations and mapping to Active Directory. We see that workflow quite often of users aren't manually added to the site, but they're connected through an API and doing single sign-on. And again, typically in those models, it looks like, okay, here's a training package for you, and then maybe extending beyond that, here's some additional resources or courses that you can sign up for. So I actually have an example open. So if I was assigned a training package and I wanted to register based on my level of access for additional training, that we absolutely support that workflow as well. And we see it quite often of, here's base sets of things, but we have a lot of other trainings that you can find and check out for.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing with enrollment in classes, so very easily can be done. So from a manager's level, so I can pull up a specific associate, just go into an account, like, oh, this person's assigned 5 trainings. I just want to add them to some other things. So I'm going to go and put you into this onboarding module. And then a manager has access to do that. So very easily from a single associate of mapping them to training. Also the same thing, if I am launching new training products, new courses, that I can do those very quickly and in bulk. So looking at, here's my onboarding cohort, here's my people currently assigned, and here's other people within this grouping that I have set up of, I want everybody in maybe this territory assigned to it. So I'm just going to select all, and then this will assign it to all 91. Or if I wanted to perhaps filter to, like, oh, if you're in this department or you're assigned this role, very easy tools to use to just quickly grab a section of the site. And then finally, the same thing applies to that of building subscriptions to user bases. Well, I already know that based on your role in your group, here's the 4 training things that you're going to start with, and that kicks you off into that initial progression. So I figure,
John, we see a lot of it. I was going to say we see a lot of adoption of that where managers might want to both make training available to their associates that those associates can opt into if they would like to go through that additional training, or just like what Scott was showing there, we'll see managers maybe have a one-on-one with a sales rep, and out of that one-on-one you decide they really have a weakness here, that they don't know this certain product line very well. The manager can go in, assign that to them, and then they can complete it. The manager will get a notification once they complete it. So it really allows for a lot of flexibility in learning and development, and development of that talent, within an association. So that'd be one more way to use that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, great. Thank you very much for a thorough demonstration and an overview. I've been following your solution, lost track now. It's got to be 6, maybe 7 years now. So watching it progress here over the time has been interesting, and really starting to see an acceleration of the new things that are coming into the platform as you develop into a pretty full-featured employee learning management system, and certainly for professional education or professional associations. A nice point of differentiation that you have is the focus on the content, and helping organizations with that premium content is a big differentiator and a big time saver too for organizations to try to buy a learning system and then figure out, who's going to be the experts to help them with the content, to be able to streamline that into one solution. Provides a lot of value in the marketplace, especially in the small to medium business zone that you guys excel in. Even though that you're yourself a small company, that you belong to a bigger company, I think you guys were doing it on purpose with Chick-fil-A and then pizza references because it's lunchtime here on the East Coast. Wine Friday, goodness, a lot of good examples, but nice examples in all seriousness from a customer standpoint, and how you're using like that point of sale system was pretty cool, and something that you just don't see normally from a learning provider. So I think just from a viewer standpoint right now, you can really see the difference between, to figure it out yourself, type learning systems with free trials and certainly capability. And then the other side here, what CD2 brings to the table with a solution approach and helping you with the content and helping you guide you through those steps, provides a much higher touch and probably in a lot of ways higher success rate for organizations that are getting going for the first time, or even switching off a smaller homegrown system as they're growing up into learning management. So there you have it. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Executive Demonstration Series. Like always, this was interesting and we learned a lot. And thank you folks for attending. And Mike, Scott, thanks for a great, thorough demonstration. It was a pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
all right.
thanks so much.
We'll see you, everyone. Thank you.